all you movie lovers. You're Bob, the old guy in Cosburn Avenue. I'm here to talk to you about a few movies and the reasons why I watch these few movies. Some people say that you watch a lot of movies the same all the time, the same movies. Well, that's true. I can't deny that. So does a lot of other people watch the same movies over and over. Here's the reasons why sometimes I do watch movies over and over. Start off with number 10. Pretty Woman. Pretty Woman I watch all the time. Pretty Woman was the first movie I went and seen at the show with my wife. But at the time she wasn't my wife, that was my first date. And I went and seen, she wanted to go see Pretty Woman. So we went to Swiss Chalet and we went and seen Pretty Woman. And that's why that movie stands out to me. First movie I ever saw with my sweet darling wife, Kathy. And the second movie, number 9 I should say, is Gettysburg. Now Gettysburg was playing at a theater up Yonge Street. I forget the name of it now, but it's long ago. But it had a balcony and it had a big screen, you know, one of those 100 feet wide screens, 100 by 50 and stuff. And Kathy and I went and seen it. And when the Confederate Army stepped out from the trees and started marching towards the Union soldiers and the bombs were going off and stuff, man, that was magnificent when you seen it on the big screen. It's not like seeing it on TV, eh? No. And you see this on the big screen, it's like, holy shit, man, just unbelievable. Number 10 is, number 8 on the list is House on Haunted Hill. I seen this in New Brunswick, St. John, New Brunswick, where I was born. My sister Dale took me to see it, and it was the first movie I ever seen at the show. The one that I first recall ever seeing it at the show. I've seen movies down there a lot of times, but first one my sister took me to, House on the Hill. And the reason it stood out is back when Skeleton was down in the basement, and they were down in the basement, and they had the acid thing where they took the lid off and there was acid in the water, no, acid in the thing where the skeleton was and stuff. And out of the corner, up in the corner on the right hand side, this curtain opened up and this skeleton slid along down a rope. Yeah, scared the shit out of everybody, but screaming and yelling, fucking hollering and crying and you name it. Took about 5 minutes, but everybody got back to normal and they started laughing. But yeah, that really did happen. The skeleton came out of the corner and slid along a rope. My sister seen that with me. Thanks, Dale. And then, second one, was New Brunswick also, was number 8 on the list. I think that's number 8. It's 10, 9, 8, 7, 8, yeah. House on Haunted Hill, number 7 would be the Magnificent 7. Magnificent 7, yeah, I seen that at the show also. My sister Gail took me to see that. And that was in 1960. That was in New Brunswick. And that's the reason why I remember that movie like yesterday. It was my sister took me. And I saw the Magnificent 7. Back then when I was a kid, I didn't know anything about the samurai, right? So that one's Magnificent 7 stands out, so that's one of those movies. And number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and number 5 is A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. I watch that all the time. My mother told me about that. She said she used to go to the theater show with her girlfriends back in those days, and there'd be 4 or 5 of them together on a Saturday night. And no boys, just girls. And my mother told me about that. So back then in those days, which was 30, 40 years ago now, but you know, VHS movies are out and you used to go downtown and buy them. The regular price of movies were like $25 to $30, so you go hunting for these movies that your mother would tell you about. So that's saying that one. And then I watched I think it was number 6, would be Goldfinger. Goldfinger, the first time I ever saw a James Bond movie, it was 1964. It was Boxing Day. And I was living on Bleecker Street, so I walked along Carlton Street and over to the theater to see Goldfinger. And that's my favorite John Wayne, my favorite James Bond movie. My mother said, "Do you have your own money?" I said, "Yes." probably from selling newspapers or something, I can't remember. So Boxing Day 1964, I went and seen Goldfinger. That's why I like Goldfinger the best. The best movie of all the James Bond movies for me is Goldfinger. Then I saw Casablanca years ago, first time. And I'm pretty sure my mother told me about Casablanca. Casablanca's a love story between two people. Yes. And then I saw The Searchers. No, The Searchers. Excuse me. Searchers, John Wayne. I'm not sure if my mother told me about that, but back then I used to go to the show a lot and seen John Wayne movies, of course, back in the 60s. And this one stands out because this is the best John Wayne movie there ever was. People must think it's would be Stagecoach, but to me it's not. It's The Searchers. So I always watch The Searchers, and it's the best John Wayne movie ever made. So that's Searchers. Number 9 on the list, or number 2 on the list. Number 2 on the list. Number 2 on the list. It would be Gone with the Wind. Another love story. Gone with the Wind. Always liked this movie. Yeah. She's in love. She's in love with Tara, right? Yeah. At the end of the movie, yeah. It's Tara. Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. But anyway. Gone with the Wind. And number 1 movie of all time on my list. And the reason why it's number 1, other than being a great fucking movie, it's back in 1972 I got married. And I used to buy furniture and put it away until I found my own apartment. My wife, Darlene, at the time, we got married. We lived with my parents for, I think, 2 or 3 months, saved money, bought furniture, laid it away. I happened to buy a TV guide, was on time. You pay for it every month. It was in the back of a TV guide you used to get from the newspapers. The Globe and Mail had their own TV guide, the Star had their own TV guide, stuff like that. Telegram had their own, each newspaper basically had a TV guide, same thing. But a lot of TV guides had ads in it. You can rent a whole, or buy a whole apartment full of furniture on time. This was a color TV that was a 27-inch RCA Victor. And we used to watch Wizard of Oz, kids, my brothers and sisters, every, I think it was Thanksgiving or Christmas. But anyway, we used to watch it together, gather together, lay on the floor, sit on the couch, whatever, and watch The Wizard of Oz. Now, I never saw The Wizard of Oz. All that time when we watched The Wizard of Oz, of course, on the black and white TV, right? Not knowing any difference. And then one day, when I got that 27-inch RCA Victor TV, we watched it. And man, when Dorothy hit the ground and she stepped out of the house and she stepped in the color and the munchkins were there, it was like, holy fucking shit. It's in color. First time I ever saw The Wizard of Oz in color was in 1972. So anyway, when December rolled around, me and Darlene and I gathered our thoughts together, took the TV with us and moved into our own apartment. And my dad says, Dad was putting back the black and white TV, and my mother said, no, Bob, you're not putting that back. So my mother went and bought the same TV from the back of the guide, the 27-inch RCA Victor color TV. My mother bought it. It was in her front room, and she continued watching that TV. She used to watch Bonanza. When he started watching Bonanza and Ned Sullivan and all those shows right in color, can't go back to black and white. And that's my little list of 10 movies that I watched and some of the reasons why I watched them. So there you go, people. Shout out to Mike, Harry, James, Ian, and Jay. Did I say everybody? Hopefully I got everybody. And everybody else that pays attention to the thumbs ups that I do. Anyway. Yeah, keep watching those movies, people.